Thanks, Ingrid.
Okay.
As well as the advert for the website, Yvonne's going to give us another view of her experience.
Right, it isn't just my experience, it's more or less a general experience of people. It's about looking at it. Been doing this for 6 years, and it wasn't done without forethought. There was lots of discussions on it till we've got to the stage we are. So, even patients can do IT. But it's not always easy. We live in an age of technology, but that doesn't mean everyone can use it. Some need more help from others, but where from? Is it from the family? Is it from other patients, fellow patients? But what we've done, we've actually set a course up with the library at Tameside, so people can go to the library and they can learn how to use a computer, they can learn how to use, set up an IT address, which is necessary, an email address, and then they can learn how to actually look at the records. So we've even thought about doing that, and if somebody comes up and says, hey, I've got a great idea, tell us about it, and we'll have a go at it. We use IT as a tool to manage our own health, but also that of a family, particularly the woman of the household. My husband's still saying after 45 years, where's my shirts? Still in the same place they always are, but no, he still say that. So it's the same when it comes to men. Can you book me an appointment? You know, he can do it himself, but he always says, can you book me an appointment? But that's the way it is, so we get on with it. But self-care, it doesn't mean no care. And like Ingrid said, we really do try to self-care, but we're not on alone. So if we suffer from asthma, drug addiction, cancer, etc., we can be educated in managing the condition by a healthcare professional. And there are 8,760 hours in a year, and it's estimated, somebody there with a piece of paper and a suit estimated that we usually cut probably about 4 hours worth of time to the surgery. So for 8,756, we're on our own. We've got to look after ourselves. And I hope we got paid for that. So from a patient perspective, it's been in an active partnership with the doctor, and it's a patientship, and it's based on trust. It works both ways, it's a two-way street. We expect the doctor to be honest with us, but then we've got to be honest with them. So if he says, how many glasses of wine are you having a week? Oh, I just have one a day. Well, that's great, if that's one glass. Or have you all seen these big glasses where you can get a full bottle of it? I mean, it's, all right, you're only having one glass, but you're not being honest with the doctor. And they're saying, are you having one cigarette, or is it one pack, or 1 dozen packs? You've got to be completely honest. But it's also about having choices. Because you have this discussion, you say, you might not even come to a decision now. The doctor might offer you something. You think, well, hang on a minute, I'll look into that. And you might come back and say, yeah, that's fine. Or you might say, no, I'm not happy with that. But this is what I've found. So it's having choices. But above all, it's helping a clinician to help us. We're the ones that are there all the time, and we're the ones that knows what's happening most of the time. It's about being a happy patient. And to do this, we really do need access to our medical records. So this is our practice website. Of course, we can't go anywhere without punching this. Our practice website takes us to everywhere. We can see there's all the choices for self-care, there's health space, NHS choices, the map of medicine. It's all things that is reliable. You can Google anything you want and you can come up. You come up with all sorts. But what we want is the patients to be able to access reliable information and don't go down this road of buying this magnificent drug that will do wonders, particularly when it comes to losing weight. And it never seems to work. All you seem to lose is the weight and the money in the pocket. And there at the bottom, it's about health record access. And that's where we can go on. And there's lots of things there we can find and we can read about it. And we come up to the filling in to get the access. So we need to collect our PIN numbers from receptionists, and then we need to register them, the PIN numbers and the password. Now with that, that's fair enough. That's all you want to do to be able to access your medications, to book your medications, That's all you need to do. But you need to, if you want to do it so you can access your records, you need to complete an online questionnaire, sign a consent form, including a passphrase, and that's all. So we have 2 different passwords. One is just for medications, and one is for medical records. So what can we do with access? This is an old slide, so apologies. We can still order repeat prescriptions, and we can check previous medications. What we can't do at the moment, because we're in this new appointment system, is we cannot make appointments online. So, and we can't cancel them unless that's been altered, but as I don't go on very often, can't tell you. But those 2 have been suspended while we're on this new system, and we're seeing how that works. But we can still check results, we can check x-ray reports, we can print anything we think that might be of use to us. So we can take it, as Ingrid said, we go to see another doctor, and instead of being treated as like, oh, you're the arm that comes in here every so long, oh, and then you're the leg that comes in. We want to be treated as a whole patient, because very often one thing affects the other. So, when we look at our prescriptions, our medications, blue eye buttons, and by clicking on the eye buttons, it gives us information about the medication, such as this one is doing aspirin, and this is patient.co.uk, so we know it's a reliable source. We might want to check if we've had a cholesterol test. We might want to check what it all means, what the results mean, and we can do that. And we can go to lab test online. Again, there's a link from the website which takes us to lab test online that explains the test. So when you see your results, and if the surgery is closed, and you think, well, what does that mean? You can go to lab test online. And I can vouch for you, and I can honestly say that I got a result and I saw it was abnormal, checked up lab test online, and it said that the most obvious answer would be that I needed medication increasing. So I thought, I haven't got time to do that now. I haven't got time to ring the doctors, sit in and wait for a telephone call. I'll do it in a couple of days. But that night, when I came home, there was a message on the answer phone from one of the doctors saying they'd got the test results, my medication needed increasing. There was a prescription waiting for me at the desk. If I wanted to see a doctor, just phone up and make an appointment. But if I was happy just to take the prescription, I could pick it up. So I did better than that, like Ingrid. Rang next door, said, go and pick my prescription up with you, I'll pick it up later on. Photographs. I don't know if anybody's ever thought about putting photographs in the records. But there's 2 cases here. First one is somebody who's just been released from hospital and they'd had a chest operation, and the chest drain had just been taken off the day before. So it looked a bit angry over here. So the doctor took a picture of it, put it in the records, so the doctor could say, right, keep looking at the photograph, looking at the scar. If it seems to be going worse, come back because you need treatment, you need if it's all right, if it just dies down, that's fine. And then you get the leg ulcer. And that suits everybody because you're not always seeing the same person for treating it. No. So you can look at the picture of the leg ulcer and see if it's gone worse, if it's gone better. Get very technical, they could hold a ruler at the side and put measures on. But it's there. So it's there for not only for the patient to see, but it's also for the healthcare professional to see. Advantages. We talked about the doctor-patient relationship. What about when you go on holiday? Might not have, well, at least you think there's nothing happening to me in my life at the moment, no problem. But then when you get on holiday, something does, and then you need to go into your records. So yes, you can do that. You could even take them on a memory stick if you wish. When you go and see a consultant, different hospital, different areas. But what about when you're having treatment from the community within your own home? A nurse might come to give you an injection, which might be dependent on the results of the blood test. So you could have the results already printed off for her so that she'd know what they were. And then if you've got people, perhaps family in a nursing home, but you've got brothers and sisters in another part of the world, well, they could share with the consent form properly. They could share the information so that they too know what's happening. And of course, we've got the emergency. Emergency is exactly what it is. You never know where it's going to happen. But for the main advantages for most of us is time. Disadvantages. Yes, there are disadvantages. Ingrid spoke about somebody who might be a bit of the hypochondriac and probably worry themselves to death. But what about forgotten history? Something that happened to you years and years ago, and it might still be in your records, and it's just been totally out of your mind. Bad news, we've talked about bad news. Some of us, bad news is when you start waiting to find out what the results are, because you have nobody will let you know. You have to wait for an appointment. That's bad news to you. But for others, it's bad news of finding the results of what it means. X-rays, you want your X-rays results quickly. Third-party information. That's if somebody said something about you. My husband might say she's a complete nutter. Watch her when she comes. So then the doctor has to decide, well, is it true? Does it need putting in the notes? Is it the husband who's being vindictive? He's the nutter. So third-party information is it's still a problem. It's still there. It's still being sorted. But we've not had any major problems with that in the 6 years we've been doing it. That has been sorted. It's been talked through. But every case is different, and we never know something might come up. You might not agree with what they've written about you. That might be personal opinion. What the things to do, you might need to challenge it with the doctor who wrote it, or with a consultant to find out. So that's something. But when you suddenly see something there and you think, I don't agree with that, it didn't like that, then yeah, so that might be a disadvantage. And like we said, you might even feel worse than you did before. Problems being solved. Children, that's a common thing. Parents can access children's records up until the age of 10. And then it becomes a discussion between the child, the parent and the GP. Some 12-year-olds are 22. Some 22-year-olds are 2. Every case is different. Again, it's something that we need to look at. But what about in nursing homes? We're going to hear a lot about nursing homes in a bit. But that is something where it's where you really need people to be able to access your records. So it's not a lottery. We'll try them on this. Oh, by the way, did you not know they were allergic to it? So, yes, that's fine. We established a local care records board over 6 years ago to deal with any problems. If, for instance, a patient didn't want to approach the practice because they felt they might be penalised, they could go to this local care records board. I think it actually exists in name only, and I'm still a member as far as I know. I've not been booted off. So it consists of doctors, healthcare professionals, patients. But we don't have meetings anymore because we've never had a complaint. Nobody's ever rung. So we're just like in grace at the moment, just waiting for somebody to give us a ring. But the number is still there and we can still do. So, as well as the third-party data, as far as speaking patients whose first language isn't English, patients with learning difficulties, memory problems, coercion in the home, the areas that we are aware of, but we're still working on them. Now, this is the personal bit. And this is, Ingrid, pay attention to this one, please, because you and I will be putting a claim in together. Right. So, accident in 2011. Fell down the stairs from top to bottom, broke the shoulder. So I needed an ambulance, an A&E visit. I had to stay in overnight, so there was a discharge letter. I was then told to come back for my pre-op assessment, another letter, and then I had an operation. So then I had another discharge letter after I'd had the operation. Now, fortunately, they thought, well, I don't know about fortunately not, they left me to the care of my husband anyway. They didn't involve anybody else's services. They thought he could bring up for a change. And then, so, but there could have been different services that were involved, social services, carers and everything. And then I had to go to the hydrotherapy, the physiotherapy, which meant more letters. And I finished up with then 8 letters to the fracture clinic. Now, I've not included all the other letters, so I hope, Ingrid, you were counting. So, the 8 visits to the fracture clinic, it meant 8 letters, which would have meant 8 appointments at the GPs to find out what the letters were saying, 8 telephone calls, plus the extra ones to get in to see the GP to find out. So all in all, it saved me 11 hours for appointments and 40 minutes telephone. For the doctor, it saved 8 appointments. Now, my time is counted as nothing in the NHS because I'm a patient, but doctors, their time is counted as roughly £25 an hour for seeing a patient. So I saved £200 plus all the other letters that didn't count. Yeah. So not only did I benefit, practice benefit, but other patients benefit, and that's one of the good things, that because while I wasn't taking up those appointments, patients who really did need to see the doctor and to make the appointment, they were benefiting from them. Don't look over there, because he'll stick his tongue out at me in a bit. Hidden cost. Everything has cost. Time it takes to give record access, to keep the website up and running. It's time and money. I mean, even this event, it took planning to set the room, and it took funding to pay for the refreshments. And just the time that you've all given up to come here to be with us this afternoon. So, putting people at the heart of the care. Sorry about this one, Joan, but it seems a very good thing to say. I have to say it's on Joan's letterhead as well. NHS. There are some in the NHS that think patients have no life, and a 10-minute slot with a healthcare worker costs them absolutely nothing, because they don't take into consideration that they might have to give up work, they might need to get 3 buses if they haven't got their own transport. We might choose to go to a specific hospital. That's our fault. But with many specialities hospitals now taking up, we may have no choice but to travel out of the area to different hospitals. And not everyone can claim travel costs. There's like a chasm where like you're very rich, you can claim the benefits, and then there's them that fall in the middle, where you just have to put the bill, and if you want the treatment, you'd like shut up and get on with it. So it isn't the money just on the basis, but it's also, it involves everyone. It's the time. To go to Stepping Hill Hospital, which is only Stockport down the road, for me it's 2 buses. For somebody who lives up Newton, that's 3 buses. 3 buses there, 3 buses back. It takes a lot of time. And when you're feeling ill, the last thing you want is travelling on a bus, because when I get on the bus, every screaming child in the area's got on that same bus as me, and you either can't hear them, or you have to push somebody's feet off the seat because they've got the shoes on the seat at the side here. So, self-care, it's not no care. As a PPG, we do a lot for self-care. We've had different sessions where we have things like fibromyalgia, we've had skin care, we've had bowel cancer, we've had breast cancer. We make arrangements. It's about getting people to help themselves. I've just actually cut his head off, but I don't know about that. Something to do between the IT and the camera. But that was Jeff, who was the lead resuscitation officer from Tameside Hospital. He came down and he taught people the hard and fast, the Vinnie Jones advert, Staying Alive. He taught people how to use CPR. And we frightened him to death because we got him 2 classes of children to come in, young children, and he survived it. He thought it was great. But he even taught us how to use defibrillator. What's the thing that's going on televisions a lot in the moment? People are collapsing and there's no defibrillator there, or people don't know how to use them. Well, we all came out of this room knowing how to use it. We're now looking forward, well, I don't know if we're looking forward, or at least we're working towards Self-Care Week, which is the 12th to the 18th of November this year, 2012. So now we've got notices up outside asking people, is there a condition that you want to know more about? And we'll try and get a speaker to do that. So we might have somebody from the Blind Association that come in and talk to us about the things that are there. We've had all different things, so we try and do that. And remember, for us, we've always got our website. There's all sorts of things on the website. We have things on for teenagers. We did a questionnaire for teenagers about what sorts of things they wanted. And I thought, this is a terrible thing. We got fancy only having 216 replies to this when we'd sent all these messages out to these schools. And everybody's going, wow, you got 200 people to do that. And they did. So, poor Dr. and Nanny spent then the next couple of weekends going through trying to find everybody's answers, collating them all, and then we put various links on the website. But that went out just before Christmas, so that all these children who put all these things that they wanted to know, they weren't left over Christmas when surgeries closed down. Hospitals don't want to know you unless you're on your way out, and then you are an emergency, because they're that worked off the feet, and we don't have a problem with that. So it's about care. We had the breast cancer specialist nurse who came here, gave a talk about breast cancer. somebody who's had breast cancer, she got up, told her about her problems that she had, about a reconstruction, and that went on the website, because that's what we do. Things are video, just like now, and they go on the website. So you couldn't attend the meeting, but perhaps you could go on and look at the video, and it's broken down into little pieces. We did have, I can't remember, it seems ages ago now, but there was a storyline in Coronation Street when Sally Webster developed breast cancer. Within an hour of that episode finishing, on the front page of our website, there's a picture of Sally Webster. If these problems affected you, follow this link, and it took them through to that breast cancer thing. So self-care, it's about helping, and that's what the role of the PPG is doing. We're not here to criticise doctors, we're not here to find fault, we're here to try and make things better, to make better for the patients. So, thank you.
Thank you.